right. Good evening, everyone. Oh man, we're trying to get a little technical up in here. I was loving that song. We have a little countdown that we have started as a part of Ask the Doctors. Welcome. I am so glad that you are here with me. My name is Dr. Jonathan Shepard. It is my privilege to be with you on this Friday. It is October 1st, and I will speak more to that significant date at a later time in the show. But yes, it is October 1st, 2021. Come on in the room. I'm so glad to see so many of you all already who is joining us. Please go ahead and share and like this video. We have a tremendous show for you today. This is going to be something to inform, educate, and inspire you. This particular platform was created over a year and a half ago to be able to provide people with a space to discuss mental health issues that relate to our societal issues. And I am so honored to be the host of this particular platform, Ask the Doctors. And it is sponsored by my job, Hope Health Systems, which is located in Woodlawn, Maryland. It is an outpatient mental health center where we provide services for children, adolescents, and adults, direct care services. So you can go to our website, hopehealthsystems.com, and you can find out more information about us. There's the website there below. When you go there, you can even fill out a referral if you're in need of mental health services. Your child is in need of mental health services. So many children now have returned back to school. And now that they're back in school, we are recognizing that the anxiety, that the isolation that so many of them suffered during the pandemic, and I say during the pandemic because we're still in the midst of it, and they're in need of mental health services. Yes, they're in need to be able to talk with somebody who can provide them the skill sets, the intervention, the tools to be able to manage the stress. Adults, you need it too. You struggling just like the children are. And so you come on over, you get registered, you get yourself referred. There is no bias here. There's no age limit. We serve from the youngest to the oldest to make sure that everyone is taken care of. Man, we'll do you some good. Check out the website, hopehealthsystems.com. I am so glad to see some of our regulars already on here. Thank you, Rhonda Hayes, for being on here. You must have got off of work early or something. You were blowing up my line last week, said you were at work. So I'm so glad that you are here on time. And Sarita Watson, thank you. And Dr. Mary Harris. There's a Marie Harris who also watches too. And so glad that you are here. And please go into the comments section. Let me know that you're here. I want you to share. Oh, Lord, Rhonda, you're at work. Don't get in trouble now. But that's wonderful. I'm glad that you're able to view us wherever that you might be at. I'm so happy to be able to say I'm spending some time with my family this week, and this has been an awesome time of sharing. I want to make sure that we are ready for our show. Let me tell you, yes, these are some stressful times, but these are still the best of times. And as I mentioned earlier, October is the beginning of the last quarter of this year. And today is October 1st. It's the first day of the last quarter. And because it is the last quarter, we should be preparing for the year 2022. And it is so exciting that as we are prepping ourselves, there are some old chapters that will be closing, and there's some new beginnings that will be starting. So old chapters and new beginnings. And I am so fortunate that I have some people today who are in the midst of what we are talking about today. They should inspire you. One of the things I said to the guests today, I want to do a show that when people leave here, they're going to be like, man, I need to get going. I need to make sure I got my plans together. I want to make sure I got my goals and set. You cannot wait until January 1st to say, this is what I'm going to do in 2022. You're already late. You're behind. We want to get you so inspired today that you will get up. And why is this being talked on a mental health platform? Because there's a sense of apathy, lack of motivation that has occurred because of the pandemic. And so it is my duty to help get you off of that seat of do nothing so that we can get going. And I'm going to start with this young man, Dr. Marcus Kitchens. I am so proud of him and what he has done. He is a mentee of mine, and I just don't say that just to be trying to brag or anything like that, because I am very particular as to people who I mentor. And this young man has proven himself, and I'm going to bring him on. If you will remember, I'm going to bring him on in. If you remember, he was with us last year at this time, almost exactly a year ago. I had him and a few other gentlemen who one was already in residency. Then I had another person who was helping Black men get through the medical field, or the medical educational field, I should say. And so I won't say anymore, but here he is a year later, and he is still standing. Welcome, Dr. Marcus Kitchens.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shepard, for the invitation and allow me to be here to just try to uplift your audience and those who'll be watching. Like Dr. Shepard has mentioned, my name is Dr. Kitchens. I am a recent graduate in January, so that's a huge thing for me, a dream come true. And as of right now, I am working day and night, little to no sleep. I'm studying for all of the boards that they put us through so that we can provide good health and treatments and everything else like that for all those who are around. And currently when I was here last time, I was living up north near Chicago, and now I am back in central Kentucky. So wow. I'm glad to be here.
Wow. Now, I won't put your business out there too much, but yes, he was living in Chicago. But tell the folks what you were living in.
Yes. So while I was in Chicago, I was rounding in the south side of Chicago, and I, instead of wanting to or deciding to pay all of the money for the rent there, I decided to build out a shuttle bus with the whole tiny house living. And I built out a shuttle bus and lived inside of it for those 2 years in Chicago, in the parking lot of my hospital. Saved a lot of money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk about being, I don't know, innovative. I don't want to use the word frugal. That don't sound right, but but being thoughtful, insightful as to what to do. That's awesome. And let me tell you, I didn't have a chance to step foot in it, but he showed me around, and it was quite an invention. I'll say it like that.
Yeah, and I actually have. I was pretty active at that time on YouTube with it. So met student van life at that time. So yeah, some of the videos are still up there, and so yeah.
Wonderful. So we're going to talk a little bit about Marcus's achievements of the last year, old chapters, new beginnings. I'm excited that he's joining this. Marcus, your mom is out there, your dad is out there. They're commenting. This is wonderful. I know there's some other family members. Come on, let us know. We want to know that you're out there listening. And I also want to welcome all those persons who are watching the replays. We always get so many replays after our live sessions, almost triple the number of views. So yes, if you're going to be watching this, I want to salute you and thank you for doing that. Next up is a wonderful person who I've gotten to know from afar and recently gotten to know more up close. She and her husband are a wonderful couple, and she's going to come on today. I love her energy. between Dr. Kitchens and this next person. I don't know how we're going to be able to stand it because they just bring it. And so I am so proud and honored that she agreed to come to talk with us today. And that person is Takitha Carter, or TK, as they also call. And let me tell you, she's going to come ready. How you doing, Takitha?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here, Dr. Shepard, and also my regard and respect to Dr. Kitchens for this awesome space. I'm just so happy to be here on this show. And you're saying ask the doctors. The doctors are in. The doctors are in. And hey, I'm gonna say something. I don't have that. I don't have those two letters behind my name yet. Before the show, I think I'm gonna find me an acronym that goes very well with MD, and I'll probably go back and change my name there. You all can call me Doctor too. But I am studying organizational leadership in the nonprofit sector at Capella University, and I am in the Doctor of Human Services program. So not quite medical doctor, but a DHS nonetheless. And I am so happy about that. I'm also the owner of Working the Dash Incorporated, which is my nonprofit organization. And I am a personal and professional development growth coach. So happy to be here and just love making the connections. And thank you so much, Dr. Shepard, for what you bring to this platform and to the body of mental health.
Absolutely. Thank you. Oh, wow. That's excellent. So you see why she had to be here. And I'm so anxious to hear her Takitha's contributions to this conversation today. But there's one more person I want to bring. And I am so glad that she said a yes. Because recently she has developed this new word called no. But I am so glad that she has allowed a yes to come up and be a part of the Ask the Doctors broadcast. And if you should know, she's been here before. She is no stranger to Ask the Doctors. This is Dr. Antonique Edwards from Florida. Welcome, Dr. Edwards.
Thank you, Dr. Shepard. God bless you, and to Dr. Kitchens and to my girl, TK Carter. It is a pleasure to be joining in good company on tonight. I think the last time that I was with you, I believe that maybe it's two different occasions. I believe we had Mission one occasion, we had KO at one point, but in both of those instances, I was serving as an assistant principal of a high school and had been in the field of administration for the last 15 years and have been very fortunate to have been doubly promoted, as I would like to declare, into positions in our district office and now serving as the Chief of Equity, Inclusion, and Community Engagement for the school district in my local community. So very happy to be in that place and working in a position of very many challenges in society right now. And then also, of course, I'm the founder of Divine Ministry Incorporated, which is the nonprofit, as well as Eagle Eye Consulting, which is my LLC. But just happy to be here and to be a part of the conversation.
Man, I tell you, these folks did not come to play. This is awesome. The resumes, the CVs of our guests today are extensive. As you see, they're well-versed. I just want to, again, give a shout out to those who are. Elijah Davis is here. Oh, man, from New Jersey. Thank you, sir. And a few others I see. Yeah, come on in the room. I want to kind of reset the room, as they say. And as we prepare for our first questions for this dialogue, go ahead and share and like. Let us know that you're out there. And I'm really curious to hear, even in the comment section, some of the things that you're looking for in the new year of 2022. We have to be prepared for the next year. What I want to do as we transition now is just talk about some of the accomplishments, some of the things that you've been able to achieve in 2021. People need to hear that there are still people doing good things, even in the midst of a pandemic. That might sound small to you, but let me tell you, hearing that literally works on a person's mental health state. It works on their mind. So Dr. Kitchens, I know you mentioned a little bit earlier about graduation, but tell us a little bit about some of the new things that have occurred for you in this year.
Yeah. like I said, I think my largest accomplishment was, a lifetime dream of finally being able to have those letters behind my name in January. But then right after that, as TK has said, I'm actually a master's program. I'm in that master's program with Capella University with healthcare administration. This
wow.
is my third semester
Okay.
with the program as well. And, so that was another type of thing that I consider to be big for me to do outside of just getting one recognition, trying to go ahead and continue to move forward with my education in the midst of all of the headaches and, the things that's going on with the pandemic. It is hard to do. So that right within itself was something hard, and just having good health right now, when a lot of people have not been as fortunate, to try to play it smart, use, the knowledge and the brain that God gave us. And so, that right there kind of helped me as an accomplishment as well. And, I want to see myself now pushing forward towards residency and continuing to work hard in things that whatever he puts forward in front of me.
Absolutely, man. That's awesome. I'm like, how are you going to work in residency and still try to get another degree? Wow,
it's not easy.
No, it's not easy.
No sleep.
Oh wow. Well, we want you to get some rest now, and we'll talk a little bit about some of those steps you still got to do. So, TK, tell us a little bit about more of some of the accomplishments. We need to hear this. We're not bragging, but we need to hear good things during this time.
Dr. Shepard, you say we're not bragging, but sometimes you do have to take a step back and brag a little bit. Sometimes you got to like take your arm and push it on back there and make sure you celebrate your accomplishments as you go, because a lot of times the reason why we become so stuck and depressed is because we're making strides and we're making moves, but we don't really see it as such, because we do not take the time to celebrate. And because we have been ingrained, our thought process has been ingrained to say, remain humble and don't think so much of yourself, and don't celebrate those small level accomplishments. But you have to stop and celebrate those accomplishments so that it gives you the fuel to keep going. You know why? Because everyone may not know what you're doing. I'm a very reserved individual. By nature, I am an introvert. I show up in spaces as such, and I mask as an extrovert. But because by nature I am an introvert, a lot of times people do not know what I have going on. And it's not until it's finished that, I'm like, oh, I finished something, but no one is there to celebrate. No one knows what I have accomplished. So sometimes you have to stop. You made me say this first, so I'll get to my accomplishments. And it's hard sometimes because of what we've been ingrained to think, to talk about what you have done as a culture. So that's why it's important that I celebrate Dr. Kitchens. I don't have to know him to celebrate the fact that he has achieved such premise. I don't have to really know Dr. Shepard to say congratulations and to respect the fact that you have attained and achieved the doctoral status. And Dr. Edwards, I can take time and celebrate that because in our culture, we're not used to doing it. So yes, I stop, give honor, and celebrate where honor is due, and celebrate TK and her accomplishments as well, no matter how small. And then you show up not intimidated by what you have completed and what you have not completed. So I'm going to say right now, if you have done one thing on your list, not to excuse you for being lazy if you just didn't do more, but if you've done one thing on that list, put it in the chat and say, what you've accomplished, and allow us to celebrate that. So there are some things that I have accomplished during this time. And, the pandemic served us one commodity that we as adults long for. And what is that commodity? The commodity was time. We asked for time, right? God gave us time. And there are a lot of people who did not take advantage of the time. So I say this in this space, if you did not take advantage of the time that you were given, we didn't lack time, we lacked discipline. And therefore, if you lack the discipline to utilize that time, you don't really need more of something that you're not going to use properly anyway, right? So in the time that I had, I was able to accomplish, of course, being enrolled in a doctoral program, and taking classes. As Dr. Kitchens is saying, you know, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's online, you know, and you have to adjust to do that. I have started another book for youth ministry, and that is almost in its level of completion. But one thing that I did do, I figured out some things, right? I'm self-taught and I'm self-driven. A lot of people you have to have that it. You have to have it. I'm self-driven, self-taught, and because of that, I've been able to learn a lot in the digital space. And because I've been able to learn a lot in the digital space, I've been able to obtain learning how to create things. And so this last accomplishment that I'll talk about, I just created my first flip book. It's a flip book of affirmations, daily affirmations by TK. And it's actually a flip book. Like it flips and makes the page sound and all of that stuff. So, I'll talk about how you can get that later. But I'm excited about it because, when it finished, I literally looked around and I'm like, oh, I made a flip book, and nobody knew but TK. So I'm telling everybody now. So y'all clap for me out there. Clap for me in that chat. That's right. And so there you go. That's all I'll say for right now. And I'll come back later.
Oh man, thank you. I accept the correction. Thank you, because you're right. Sometimes we do try to take quote unquote the humble road, and that's not being humble. We must celebrate. And I like what you have said. It fuels our next assignments. It prepares us even mentally for what is going to happen next. And then it lets people know what we've been able to achieve. This is awesome. Dr. Antonique Edwards, come on. I know you said a little bit already, but we want to hear about the goodness that has occurred to you even in this last really year of what you've gone through.
Sure. So I think when you ask that question, it's twofold for me. It's about the accomplishments that I think people have an expectation of hearing when you talk, which is when we speak of accomplishments, people think and have a tendency to think in terms of work that is accomplished by way of our education or our jobs or what have you. And so I am most grateful for the opportunity that I have for those places and place of promotion. In ways that I'm not as, completely comfortable sharing here, but let me just say the Lord has blessed me. Okay. And so I don't want to go into too many details, but I will say that, I applied for some positions. I had some interest in some things. There were some things that had even occurred, I think, along the journey in the workplace or what have you, that I guess if you really looked at it, you would say, no, these things are not possible. And so my encouragement to the people who would listen is to say that if you just stay your course and you remain positive, no matter what season you're in, even in the most unlikely of seasons, when you serve a God as good as ours, he makes a way for you because he is the author and the finisher of our faith. And because he is that, he gets the last say, he gets the first say, right? And so, I am so grateful that I stuck with him and not what people thought. I stuck with him and not what their expectation of me would be. And so God has opened a door for me and has brought great favor and released it. And so now I sit among a group of people who have great responsibility. To whom much is given. When you have accomplishments in life, to whom much is given, much is required of you. And so there has been a lot of requirements in this space, and serving as the chief of equity and inclusion and community engagement. There are a lot of people that we have to engage with. So I'm grateful for that. And like TK, I've been working on some things in terms of writing and authorship. And so I had written a book back in 2005 called Daddy, Where Are You? And I had decided that I wanted to do a children's edition of that book. But within this last year, I've released the first and almost am in completion of the second of a multicultural series for children's book that goes along with that for our pre-K, our early learners, right? And so really important topic, but it is based on various ethnicities. And I'm just so grateful of being able to expand the work into a place that was unusual and unfamiliar for me. And so being able to write in a book for adults is very different than trying to come up with illustrations and provide graphics and all those kind of things. And so that's different. So that's that one facet, right? Where you say, look, I'm doing things in my workplace and, ministry expansions. My bishop has appointed me as a president of our jurisdictional youth department. And it was just like lots of great things are happening in the course of the year. And that's wonderful. But I'm not that person who really cares too much about lots of positions and titles, right? I'm glad that, these accolades are afforded to us and people in the community. They look at them as a way of revering you and lifting you up. But for me, the greater accomplishment, Dr. Shepard, as you alluded to earlier, is for me having gotten to a point where I have embraced my ability to say no to things that are not necessary for me in this moment. And I think it has brought some people by surprise. People have said, but we need you. And I'm like, really, you need the task to be done. Some people have said, no, but we got to have you, in this place. And the Lord has said it. But did he say it? Because I believe that when God speaks, he confirms it. When 2 or 3 are gathered in this place, that means there's an agreement. Then that's where God is. Well, he doesn't have that agreement in my spirit. So maybe he didn't speak that directly to you. I'm not saying that your vision is not from God, but are you sure that he said that Antonique Edwards needs to do it? And I've gotten to a place where I realize that if I go to embrace all of those things and try to do all of that work, that some of that might be some of my own pride. I believe that God has gifted many people and he has blessed people. And so that stepping back allows for there to be growth on behalf of other people. And sometimes it's okay. You got to tell yourself it's all right to step back. This pandemic has taught me how to rest. This pandemic has taught me how to sit back and say it's okay. It is, check this out, talk about accomplishments. I done paid off some stuff. I got a paid off car. I got some paid off credit cards. I got some paid off student loans and debts. Y'all don't hear me in here today. I've been like sitting still has been beneficial. And so I'm grateful for that. And so when you talk about accomplishments, I think of it twofold, right? Just some of those things that mentally have given me peace. And so I'm just honored to be in that place right now in life.
Oh, I love it. Oh, man. She ain't playing. And I love the comments. They repeated what you said, Dr. Edwards. I want you to know that. Really, you just want to get the task done. We need to examine every request that is given to us during this time period. I'll just leave that right there. Before you accept an assignment, you need to make sure that it is in line with the goals that you have set. All right. And I'm really saying that because in order to be able to maintain your peace and mental stability during this time, things that do not align with what you're supposed to do will throw you off. All right. Will throw you off. Listen, I have got a surprise guest. He's going to pop in and then he's going to pop back out because I am in Houston. I'm in Houston, Texas, you all. Here to visit my family. Those of you all know my family is everything to me. And so I am so glad to be here in Houston, seeing and checking up on my brother and my sister. As you know, we've had some devastating losses in my family over the last year and a half. And it's just good to be here, just to be able to surround them with love and them check on me and I check on them. But one of Houston's own is here. Well, I should say Texas' own, Dr. James Mabel Jr., who is a recording artist. And I just want him to come in. He's going to join this panel. I want him to tell us a little bit about what he has accomplished even in this year of 2021. Some great things. For those who know him, I want you to go ahead and hit him up, share. How you doing, sir?
Hello, man. How you guys doing?
Oh, man, we're doing well. We're doing well. We're doing well. Now, you see, doctor, some people say, yeah, that don't match normally with recording artists. This gentleman is an earned PhD. All right, just so y'all know that, okay? So I'll let him go ahead and tell his testimony. Now, he's on a time clock with me, all right? So you have time to tell the whole testimony because he has a real testimony. But I do want you to talk a little bit about what has happened for you in this year of 2021, and then we're going to continue on with the conversation. This is awesome.
Absolutely. Well, first, I want to say thank you, Dr. Shepard, for having me. To these amazing panelists, like I'm over here like shouting at the screen on mute because I'm just so inspired and so lifted. And so just know that you all, each of you just have just inspired me even the more to continue to press on in my daily endeavors. And so just a little bit about me. Of course, I'm a Texas boy. I reside in Houston, Texas. I'm originally from a little small town called Navasota, Texas. If you blink, you'll miss it. It's about 10 minutes south of College Station, Texas, where Texas A&M University is. But I'm a resident of Houston. This year has been just one amazing year. I've recently begun a new chapter as worship leader at the Crossover Bible Fellowship Church right here in Houston, Texas. I am the son of a pastor. My dad's been pastoring 30 plus years back home, 3 older sisters. We all sing, all that good stuff. So I grew up in church, went on to in my biased opinion, the best HBCU this side of heaven, Prairie View A&M University, where the wonderful Dr. Ruth Simmons is our leader. And got my bachelor's in music education, my master's in educational administration, and my doctorate in educational leadership with special interest in higher education and cultural diversity. Wow. And during that stint, during my doctorate degree, I ended up in a bad car accident. The very first weekend of class, actually, it was 9/11 of 2010. So I call this my 9/11. I ended up flipping my Jeep 7 times, ended up being paralyzed for a year and a half. I was confined to a wheelchair. And during that time period, I was still an elementary school music teacher while working on my doctorate. I was still my dad's music director back home. I was still being an uncle to my nieces and my nephews and a son to my mom and dad. But after a year and a half of being confined to a wheelchair, I walked across the stage at Prairie View University 4 years later as the second youngest PhD to come out of PV at 29 years old at that time. So I'm 36 now. And so that's just, I tell that story everywhere I go in my travels as a gospel artist. In terms of my career, I have been a youth pastor. And so Dr. Edwards, I was over here just hollering as you was going. I just want to fall out. I promise you, just my God from Zion. And so I was at the Antioch Baptist Church under Dr. John Adolph in nearby Beaumont, Texas. That's about an hour east here of Houston for 6 years. And literally August the 15th of this year was my last stint there in Beaumont, and transitioned into worship leader here in Houston. And also in conjunction with that, being a gospel artist, many of you maybe say, this guy looks familiar. I was on season 2 of Sunday Best way back in 2009. And that started just the elevation of my career, linked up with Kirk Franklin, Ernest Pugh, and Dr. Bobby Jones, and the rest has been history. I released my first single, signed a record deal in 2019. I released a single entitled I'm Free. That charted number 27 on the Billboard charts, and that opened me up to so many other venues and so many other categories. I got a chance to hang out in the Church of God in Christ, Dr. Edwards. I was invited to AIM in Indianapolis. I was the guest psalmist in the evangelism department all week. I was also invited to Holy Convocation in St. Louis, sung with the men's choir. And then I was invited back to AIM in Tampa in 2019 and did the sermonic selection.
All right, Dr. Jerry, come on now.
And so God has been faithful with that. But here recently, literally as of this week,
yes,
my brand new single that I released on my album last year, it's entitled It Shall Pass, checked in at number 2 on the Billboard Gospel charts.
Wow.
And so we are literally one spot behind Tamala Mann, who beat me for 3 spins this week at radio. But the song is so prophetic. And looks like within the next week or 2 here, the Lord will allow me to be number 1 on Billboard. And, God, that's God's testament. I don't have millions of followers. I don't have millions of dollars, but I have a God who can do anything but fail.
Amen.
And to go along with that testimony of everybody here, God is good and he's faithful. So I'm done, Dr. Shepard. See, I got my time in.
And hey, Dr. Maple, one thing I wanted to tell you, I may have an MD behind my name, but I got my bachelor's in music, and I lead worship music here at my church, and sing, play piano, all those things as well. So I'm right with you.
Awesome, my brother.
Yes, sir.
And I like good singing.
Yeah.
If Dr. Shepard will give me an opportunity to sing a line of a hymn or something before I get off of here, but this is not my show. I'm gonna lay back.
Oh my Lord! See, he gonna put me on blast. All right, give us a line, because he does have another engagement right after this. Because after he does that, then I want to get into how do we move forward, because there's some people out there who are stuck. But go ahead, give us a line. Prove what you said you could do.
Just a line. There is a name that I love to hear. I love to sing his word. It sounds like music in my ear. It is the sweetest name on earth. Lift your hands and say, oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus, because he first loved me. If I was coaching, I would say yes.
All right. Wow. Now, this is a first. We have never had anybody sing or ask the doctor. So this is a first. He has created another first, you all. All right. Oh, my God. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. God bless you.
Yes, I appreciate it. You have inspired us. We're going to let you go so you can get to your next gig. I appreciate you so much, my brother. I will be talking with you soon.
Thank
all
you,
right.
Doctor.
All right. Wow. That was just awesome. Let's transition here, because I can hear so many people saying, this is just wonderful. This is awesome. But help me. I'm stuck. What do we do? Help me. I'm stuck. Dr. Kitchens, start us out.
You know, we all get to that place in life. It don't matter, you know, like they said, you know, the same people you see going up, you see them coming down. You know, everybody has those ups and downs. But for myself, the first thing that I try to do is try to surround myself around like-minded people. Mm-hmm. You know, somebody that I know that's going to push. You know, I grew up in a family where education is key. It's something that, you know, you could never take from you. You know, my mom encouraged my brother and I to both strive to be the best, you know, and a lot of people is not as fortunate as I have been to have such a supportive family to be able to push. But for those who feel like they are by themselves, just remember that so many people before you has come from probably something a whole lot less than what you have come from or currently as, and has gone so much farther. So to try to think about, okay, how can I use this situation that I am currently in to benefit me in the future? Okay, I grew up in the projects, didn't have no car, no money, no anything, but I got straight A's, got this, got that. How can I use that to get into a great university? You know, how can I use that as to use that as a personal statement to help somebody else? And then as you get there, how can I use, or how can you use that pathway that you've went, that you have paid for someone to make their lives a little bit easier? Because see, what goes around comes around. I'm a very firm believer in that. You know, so even though times may seem dark, and a lot of people have had a lot of, you know, heartbreak and pain during this pandemic, loss of loved ones, just know that the race is not given to the swift nor the strong, but the ones who endure it. So, that's something that I kind of put myself in, even currently, when, I feel like there's days where I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like doing this. Why am I up, 2-3 o'clock in the morning trying to, with a book open and, fall asleep at your desk and wake back up, and you don't want to continue to do it. But at the end of the road, there is a light. At the end of the tunnel, there is a light there. May not be able to see it as bright, but guess what? When you look at that light at the end of that tunnel, it's very small, the farther it is away. But every inch, every foot that you have moved forward towards whatever goal that may be, that light gets just that much bigger until you have literally walked into that light. You have walked into your season, and just to remember that no matter what it is that you're going through, there is somebody out there, and you may not think so, and when you're in that bad place, or that place where you feel like life has just given you the worst, that there is some people out there that you can talk to just to say, hey, how are you doing? And, and I spoke about this last year at my church, of mental health, of asking each other, especially us African-American males, hey, brother, how you doing?
That's right.
Oh, man, I'm good, man. You know me, I'm great. No, but how are you? Actually asking them and meaning it, and not just allowing somebody to say, oh, I'm great, but really in the inside, they're tearing apart. And then, you hear later on that night that person that committed suicide or what have you, you're like, I just saw him. Right. But what is it that we can actually do? Did I really mean, Dr. Shepard, how are you today? Dr. Edwards, how are you doing?
That's right.
To be able to communicate that sincerely to those people, or to that person. And I have made that a personal mission of mine, even with my own mentees, to check in on them to see actually how you doing, and to, take time for myself to give to somebody else, because it shows them that, hey, wait a second, even though I'm in this house by myself, no lights, no running water, of any of those things, this person cares about me. I can't go out and I can't take my life, because if I do that, I'm going to be hurting that person. And I care about that person more than myself. So in those particular cases there, that's what I would say to somebody who's in a dark place and just need to, and going and walking into 2022, is that knowing that where you are today, you don't have to stay there.
That's right.
And it first comes with us having to first ask for that help, and to allow that help, especially as an African-American male, being vulnerable. We don't always have to be so strong and hard and tough, but to just be like, I appreciate you talking with me and taking that time, man, because I was really not feeling good today. Gotcha. But you helped me.
TK.
Can I piggyback off of something you saying, Dr. Kitchens, about the darkness, though? I think that the perfect example that you're utilizing in terms of the tunnel and being able to see light at the end of the tunnel is exactly where people get caught, because they find themselves in a tunnel that seems like a place of darkness and they cannot see beyond it. That light seems so dim at the end. And so for those people who are out there who are listening to us tonight, it's kind of like if you wake up in the middle of the night and it's dark, right? And you're trying to feel your way through the house. You take steps, right? And you take them kind of slowly because you're trying to keep from stubbing your toe or this, that, and other, but you still trying to get to wherever your destination is. So what I would say to those people is that while you feel like you're in a tunnel, right? Still feel your way around and take it one step at a time. Don't stop moving. And I think the danger becomes when we're like, but I can't see, I'm blind, it's dark in here. So we just stop and we're still. And we get stuck in that point, in that part. And so, yes, reaching out to those people who are by you, those vulnerabilities that you have, but also to allow for yourself to know that, hey, if it's dark, right, and you can't see your way out, you still got to push. You still got to press toward that mark. You got to still try. You cannot give up, right? You cannot, as we know it says in the word, you cannot sit here and die. There is something incumbent upon you to keep pressing and moving. And that little bit of momentum, step by step, gets you a lot further than you can imagine. And I think that sometimes the reason people don't take the step is they're trying to see the perfection of it all, right? But I need to see myself completely out of this. I need to see myself fully free. I need to see myself in a new position. No, you just need to see yourself through today in this moment, right? Because you're going to get to that after a while. And you're trying to make this vision be so big so it doesn't even seem like you can embrace it, or you can hold on to it. It doesn't seem manageable. It doesn't seem like it's within reach, but you'll get there by taking the little steps that become much for you when you take them one by one. So as you talked about the tunnel, that's just something that came to mind. So I just wanted to throw that out there before I forgot.
No, very good. TK, I'm stuck in a cycle and I'm not going nowhere. Come on, give me the advice.
Listen, one valuable thing we learned in this season, if we don't know any other phrase, we are right. So everybody needs to go on mute. Has anybody said that to you? Everybody go on mute. So this is the thing. I'm using that as a play on. We're in this area right now. You need to know when to go on mute, and need to know when to come off of mute. And when you say that you feel stuck in a rut, sometimes you need to put your earplugs in and block all street chatter, because normally 9 times out of 10, the reason why we are stuck and immobile is because of the street chatter. Everything that we hear causes us to feel like we're not making any progress. How many times have you scrolled up and down social media and then you compare your life to it, and within 7 seconds you feel like you are worth less? Wow. It's simply because you've taken an immeasurable measurement of something that someone has posted, not because that is what it is. I can pose a post. I want you to see, I want you to hear what I want you to feel and what I want you to know about me. But is that really reality? For some, it is. However, we're so caught up in the highlight reels of everything that's going on around us that we fail to really see that there are people out here who are making strides. And as Dr. Kitchens alluded to, you don't want to do it. I don't want to do this. Not all the time I feel like what I post. Okay? Not all the time I feel like what you see via social media, because it is what I want you to know at that moment in time. So, I used to have this thing. I used to say, oh my God, I don't have any connections. I just don't have any connections. I can't get anywhere because I just don't, if I just had one connection. And it dawned on me, you don't need the connections because you have the knowledge base. You have knowledge. And when you have knowledge, it gives you the energy to consciously be aware of who you are. Jim Rohn said this. He stated, we are the sum of the 5 people that we spend the most of our time with. And what you have to stop and evaluate is, and assess. When you say I feel stuck, you have to assess who and what you're giving your time to. Yes. If all you're giving your time to is something that you're comparing yourself to that's almost immeasurable and unrealistic, sure, you're going to always feel stuck. You're going to feel stuck because where somebody is getting likes, loves, and shares, and you're getting absolutely no reaction, you're going to feel stuck. If that's what you're giving your time to, and if that's all you have to compare yourself to, then you will be in a rut. So what you have to do is you have to rid yourself of inadequate social feedback. We're always looking for feedback from other people. You have to be so focused on what your primary goals are, and you cannot get upset with the people who are not in tune with where you're trying to go. So as you know, as I go through this, you can't confine yourself, Dr. Edwards, going back to your point, to your zip codes and to dramatic situations. I love the fact, Dr. Edwards, that you're bringing in the practicality of this conversation. We have to rid ourselves. Studies prove that we spend a third of our day with dramatic situations, drama. A third, 33% of your day is bogged down with unnecessary drama. And you want to know why you're stuck. You're not stuck. You're not. You have to, you know what? When you're stuck in mud, what do? You've got to get something stronger than the object that is not able to move to pull you out. Therefore, you need iron that sharpens iron, that rubs against the grain, that goes against what you feel. I can't have somebody in my circle praising me all the time. Everything I'm doing is not that great. It's good, but it's not that great. I heard that. It's not that great. You're only great to the people that's telling you you're great too. So you got to get around somebody who's going to say, TK, fix that curl. Girl, that hairstyle ain't good on you. I like your book, but you're going to have to go back and rephrase this element. I worked on a project with Dr. Edwards, and I'll close here. I share this. I worked on a project with her, and there were things that I submitted. She came back and said, you might want to say this a different way. Now, if I really want to grow, because personal growth is a choice, development is a choice. If I really want to grow in that moment, I don't get mad, angry, and upset. I take the feedback, which at that point is critical construction. I'm a construction site. You are a construction site. And as we're being built, torn down to be rebuilt up, you have to be willing to take the critical feedback. Now, I could have told her, I don't care what you think about what I'm saying, you ain't the boss of me, and, you ain't the end all to, I wrote this. If I had taken that approach, what I would have submitted would have been completely off of the process of that project. Right. And guess what? When it's published, there's nothing more that can be done. Right. So who are you really hurting? You're not hurting the person who's giving you the critical feedback. We have to know how to accept the feedback, and we have to surround ourselves, as it's already been stated, with people who are going to sharpen us, and we have to be willing to be built upon and take ourselves in that element of a construction site and just, be forward and I see somebody saying, get honest. That's right. Get honest about yourself. Get honest with who you are. Be true to yourself. If you know you need developing, go develop. Be true to it. That's all I'll say about that.
Wow. Well, I want to let that sink in. I don't like to come behind somebody and try to re-emphasize what they have said. What I will say, though, is look at the analogy that TK and Dr. Edwards and really Dr. Kitchens also hit on regarding the mud. When you have mud on your shoes, you don't utilize something soft. You don't normally utilize a rag. You go get a rock to scrape that thing. Or something sharp to take that mud and all the other crud that's off of your shoes. So you want to make sure that when you're stuck, I heard you on that. You need to get something that's going to be sharp and something that's going to cut through the mess. And then I do talk about this. One of my mentors really gave me this analogy, and I talk about it. You need a mentor and not a marketing agent. You need a mentor and not a marketing agent. What's the difference between the two? A marketing agent, you all know what a marketing agent is. All they do is they pump you up. They hype you. That's your hype man. All they do is tell you about how good you are, how beautiful you are. Just pump your head up but they don't tell you about the bad stuff about yourself. That's where the mentor steps in. We need more mentors than marketing agents. So let me tell you, and as we're wrapping up with this has been awesome. But let me tell you out there, as we wrap this to a close, there's some guilt, shame, and embarrassment, and even anxiety that people have of moving forward. And we're going to have to pick this up at a later time. But I do want to address that. because some people say, yes, I'm stuck, I'm ready to move, but I know I need to close an old chapter and I'm scared to do it. I'm guilty. I'm almost afraid and I'm ashamed of what I've done. I want to encourage you. Listen to what we're talking about today. Again, it starts in the mind. If you can imagine it in your mind, then it can happen for you. So it starts with the mindset. That's why this is so important on this show today. I want to speak to those persons. Now, look, we don't got that much time. I know we have some articulate people on this panel. So I need you to say in a minute, address that guilt, that shame, that anxiety that someone may have because they need to close that old chapter so they can begin that new beginning. Who wants to go first? Minute, maybe a minute and a half, and then we're going to close out. Oh, now they got quiet. Dr. Edwards, come on, you jump on it.
All right. So I think that what I would leave with people is the knowledge for you all to recognize how valuable you are. Yes. When you walk in a place, recognizing that you have value, then even when you've made mistakes, you have to realize that it's okay to move forward. And so I will also leave with people when you're talking about moving forward. I just want to give an example. As TK talked about practicality, that is what I live and breathe. There's a lot of big words people use a lot of times, and I know them and I know what they mean. I choose not to speak that way because I just like to be identifiable with where people are. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I just want to hit on a couple of things really quickly. Within the pandemic, I was in, and many people don't know this though, but I was in a relationship to the point where I thought actually I was about to go and move. I had seen myself getting in a place where, oh yeah, this is about to be it. Ha! And instead of it advancing and moving or what have you, it actually had to come to a close. The pandemic, I believe, was very crucial and in a difficult place for that individual. And I had to be able to say to myself, how do I move forward? I cannot go down the hole with you and the negativity that seems to be arising, whatever reasons that they are. And I have to let myself know that I'm valuable enough to move forward, even if I have to do it alone. And so that's the one. I also had been diagnosed with breast cancer, and I had some really important people who had spoken into my life. Bishop Robinson, Joyce L. Rogers, while they were going through their own struggles, and this was something that was on my page, they were speaking into my life, not even understanding necessarily the difficulties that they were going through on their own. But there were some guilts that I had, right? In her passing, and him having to go through significant chemo, and with me having, yes, I had my surgeries and things, but I didn't think it was as severe as what they had to deal with. And so there were some things that I had to struggle with, and like, well, God, why this when the leaders were speaking to me, but I it don't seem like my situation was as severe as theirs or what have you. But I had to recognize that there is a plan that God has for each of us. And we have to align ourselves to what that plan is and be committed to that and be grateful, right? Living in a place of gratitude for what we have and what God has given us each and every day. Thirdly, during the pandemic, my father passed away. And so these are some crucial things, right? It was a lot. One on top of another. You're talking about ending relationship, losing your dad, and also having to overcome a huge health issue in life. But here I am today. There's no sign of cancer. I still have joy. I have peace. God has really blessed me, but I had to be in a mindset, as you have said, Dr. Shepard, of one, recognizing my value, and two, saying I'm going to press ahead. Everything that people have poured into me, everything that God has given me, I'm not going to leave in my yesterday with my mistakes. I'm moving forward into my tomorrow, and I'm going to make use of it. I am going to grow, as TK said earlier, and develop intentionally. That is my purpose. So I know I only have a minute and a half, so I'm going to stop there. I surely could go on, but I want to say that it's with intention that I shall yet grow and develop. And that's what I would encourage others to do.
Dr. Kitchens.
Yes. One thing that I would leave everybody with is that knowing that you are not alone. You're never alone. We may feel like we're alone. You may feel like you're alone. There's times that I even feel like I'm alone, but know that as long as you have King Jesus, you ain't never alone. You're never alone. And what I would say is that knowing that there is somebody, whether it's your mom, your dad, brother, sister, friend, auntie, whatnot, that as long as you have to make, sometimes you have to make that initiative to open up the door to allow others to be able to help you come through.
That's right. All right, TK, take us on now.
Well, one thing I would like to say first and foremost is don't allow your age to become a barrier. Now, I just felt that very heavily in my spirit to say, don't allow your age to become a barrier. I know that age is what we feel in our knees. And, after 40, things really do change, and you start feeling like I'm behind. Don't be overcome with that. My bishop asked a question on his social media page today, and his question was, if you did not know how old you were, how old would you be? And so don't allow age to become the barrier. And I will just say this. OLD is an acronym that I just created just in this space right now. Obstacles that lead to detour. If you remain in the old, you will eventually detour. One valuable thing that I also want to tell you is to release yourself from fear, because fear is a predator. It's a predator upon what you want to do and what you want to move forward in. Do not allow yourself to be overcome with shame and blame and guilt, because it renders you ineffective. Those are weapons. Those are weapons that form. And in the Christian community, all of us know that we say no weapon formed against me shall prosper. That's just not somebody talking about you. Those are weapons that form fear, insecurities, insignificance, feelings of inadequacy. All of these things, they are weapons that rise up to stifle us and lead us in a place of what we feel is stuck. And when we feel stuck and we allow those weapons to form and prosper, that is when there is absolutely no movement. So I would just suggest to you to release the old, because old is going to stand for tonight obstacles that lead to detour.
Wow. You should feel encouraged today. When you look at these panelists, you're looking at a Black man who has graduated from medical school and is doing well and will go forward into residency and is preparing for his licensing exam. So we want to again salute you, Dr. Marcus Kitchens. What a wonderful example of what it is to remain strong and to endure. You're looking at TK Carter, who has her own businesses, non-for-profit, who is speaking like, man, I'm like, okay, where's the tour coming? Get these people together, like, okay, what's wrong with you? Come on, shake yourself, because you got work to do. I love it. And then you're looking at a survivor. Dr. Edwards, my God, there's just so much that is just inside of you. You really, you're not a quiet storm, as they say, but you have some strength that lies within you, that when you speak, it just literally radiates and it empowers people. And I want you to remember that, because what I've heard from you today, even as I've gotten to know you, even on various platforms, I have seen it, the growth, if I may say that, because I heard you today, and the confidence in what you're speaking in, my God, it's wow. It has helped me, and I know it's going to help someone else. So thank you. And so you are looking at people who have said, we have old chapters that we're closing, and we have some new beginnings that we're walking into. And don't allow yourself in this space right now to say, I'm not going to, or say, I'm going to wait until 2022 to begin those new chapters. Today is the day to begin that new chapter. I want you to get your mindset together. I want you to get your thoughts together. I want you to get that anxiety under control. If you need to come and seek some help, available. Hope Health Systems, hopehealthsystems.com. That's where I'm going with that. If you need some direct care services, come on, look us up, Hope Health Systems. If you live in the DMV area, we'll take care of you. If you don't live in the DMV area, we'll find some contacts for you in whatever state that you're in or neighborhood that you're in so that you can get the resources that you need. Don't allow your pride to take you under. Don't allow your pride to make you old. Obstacles that lead to detours. You're getting old before your age. All right, I can really play with that acronym. Man, I love acronyms. Anybody who knows me, I love acronyms. This has been good. We've gone overtime. And wow, so I know this has been powerful. Thank you again to our panelists. Hold tight. I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast. I want to thank all those who have watched the replay. Thank you again for supporting Ask the Doctors. We'll be back again on next Friday with wonderful panelists. Continue to support. And I just want to thank all those who are out there. And Dr. Hayes, I didn't mention your name. I appreciate you, sir. You were just with us recently. Sarita Watson, yeah. Even Derek Scott was on here. That's one of my friends from way back in the day. He was on and supporting. He's been on here too. So just wanted to acknowledge all those who are out there. Have a wonderful weekend. This is the start of the last quarter. Let's win the game, you all, and let's get ready for a new year. We're signing off. Take care. We'll see you next week.